rolling, boys. This is your goal.
And I'm a shit giver. You know what I mean? Locker room mentality. Like it's endearing. You really know if you respect somebody when you talk shit to their face and support them behind their back, right? That age-old saying.
Yeah.
That's just how I am. So, like, on the core team, we all give each other shit and
all the time,
needle each other. You know what I mean? But if you try to do that through text, that comes off way different.
Young Omar would probably hate us then if we did it in text.
It comes off way different in text.
Yeah. You can't read the emotion or anything.
That's really hard.
People can take texts way out of context too.
All the time. If you don't throw an emoji in there or a ha-ha or LOL, it's like, why do I have to do that every single time?
Yeah, I had somebody tell me I put a lot of, I didn't know what these were called, but I do a lot of ... dots.
Oh.
Ellipses.
Yeah, ellipses.
Is what I've come to learn that they are from our editorial team. I do a lot of that, and I do a lot of ha-has. I grew up in high school with text, but no emojis, right?
Yeah.
So, like, when you were talking to the other sex, or you know what I mean? And you're like being playful. I didn't have an emoji to just like quickly show that I was being playful.
Dot.
Yeah, so a lot of like dots and a lot of ha-has. And that's just carried over into my personal work life. So.
And then the work, if you ... like, ooh, are you going to read me out afterwards? Is that like you waiting to say something?
Yeah.
Or like that's what the kind of thing?
It's just how I grew up. That's how I grew up texting. You know what I mean? So now with everything going through Slack, it's like, hey, you know.
I think we just need to call each other and just get rid of.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Flip phones. Go flip phones.
We could go flip phones.
Yeah.
That'd be good. That'd be good. We could do that.
How can you digiscope from a flip phone though?
That'd be a problem, yeah.
That would be an issue.
You would need like an old iPod just for phone scope.
We could do iPhones. We could just shut our service off on these, but still use them as like a camera.
Yep.
You know, and then go.
We need to read them from maps though too. So we need some, but we could use them offline. Technically, we don't need to once you have it all downloaded and on there.
Bringing in way too many variables.
Okay.
Way too many variables and problems. So, anyways, you want to tell them who we got today?
Yeah,
Gary?
we got a special guest today, Dustin from MtnTough. So you came down. What was the reasoning you came down again? Because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, it came down for the UFC 300, which is going to be awesome.
And you've never been?
Never been. It's going to be sweet.
It's awesome. In person, it is awesome.
I'm excited. Yeah, I mean, incredible athletes, incredible sport. It's going to be sweet to see it.
It's a great card too. It's a phenomenal card. A lot of people are talking shit on the card that it's like not one of the best, even though it's UFC 300. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, I was watching the weigh-ins yesterday. I was like, wait, this guy's on the card and this guy's on the card.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think
great.
what Dana had to deal with, right? Like when he was trying to put the 300 card together. I don't know if you guys saw him, but he literally said they could make a movie about what happened behind the scenes trying to put it together because fighters are just different nowadays, right? It's not like UFC 100 or 200. They're a little more picky and choosy nowadays, which, hey, they deserve it to a certain extent. But, I mean, what he had to deal with and what he got put together for the card, it's awesome. I think it's incredible.
Sweet. Yeah.
I'm excited. Bo Nickel and Justin Gaethje.
Yeah. But you're here specifically UFC 300 for Jim Miller, correct?
Just for UFC 300.
Or just for UFC 300?
Yeah.
Well, I thought MKC's coming for Jim Miller.
Oh, okay.
Right?
That's what I saw Josh post.
Yep. Got it. Are you meeting up with those guys?
No.
Montana Knife guys?
No, I talked to Josh last week, though, and he said that because he's doing that ARC thing that you guys are doing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh has Bo Nichols on his team.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Which is going to be sweet.
That is cool.
And Tulsi Gabbard, if she doesn't get a VP role.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Tulsi, that'd be cool.
That'd be really
Love to talk to her about the military-industrial complex. She's very knowledgeable on the subject, and I want to ask some questions.
That's his 3-person team, which is going to be awesome. It'll be cool to see Bo up there in Montana for that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
What do you guys have for your team?
Me, Brady, and Trail.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
Supposedly I got thrown in as like a team captain, and I was like, who are the two other homies I'd want? I was like, well, yeah, we got to keep the big hunt guys together.
Yeah.
That's going to be sweet.
Yeah, I don't know how. We talked about this the other day. I don't know how well we're going to do.
Yeah, we should have expanded our skill set because we're all weak in a couple areas and we're good in a few things.
We are not the jack of all trade kind of marksmen and shooters.
Yeah.
Like not at all. We're very good with a bow and we're very good with a rifle when we lay down and focus. So now you throw in, what are we doing?
I think clearing some houses,
night vision goggles, clearing houses with pistols. Like I'm there's a decent chance I'm shooting myself in that scenario. Like I've never, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just don't shoot pistols very often.
The pistol thing is one thing I'm most worried about. I do need to do some more training, and I heard we're going to be trained as well, so that'd be really good.
Yeah.
And guys can fly down and do that. And you guys are going to be there, right?
Yeah, I think we are going to, I think on the West Coast, you get trained either by Peter Howell or Daniel Horner from SIG.
Yeah.
Both of those guys are amazing. But we thought the same thing in terms of room clearing. I know there's a shotgun component.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
How do you feel about that? Like what's your level of confidence on the pistol and shotgun, all the stuff we don't do?
Just medium. Like the only thing I've done is just like goofing around with buddies with pistols and
Me
stuff
too.
like that.
Yeah, same.
So that's going to be interesting.
Are you going to throw us into a workout? I heard there's like a workout component in the middle of this too. They haven't told me what it is.
I don't know what it is either. MtnTough has a team. I'm team captain, and then I got Bert Soren from Sorenex, and then Kevin Miller, who is a NHL Boston Bruins defenseman, retired.
Awesome.
And they're both super into rifles and archery. So I think all of us are going to struggle through the pistol course.
Yeah, I think so.
You got the same GOHUNT issue.
Yeah, we'll be right there hand in hand. Yeah. I don't know. I'm so over my skis on that one, even to like think about what to do. Clearing a room too. Like I got a brother-in-law who's on a special forces team here in Nevada. He goes after violent criminals. Like the way they move, you know what I mean? It's different. It's like a full-blown system. Like full-blown system, start to finish.
Mm-hmm. They're shooting and moving the whole time.
Yeah, and it's it's all about technique, right? It's like, I don't know, it's Masters Week, so I'm coming up with another golf analogy, but it's like a golf swing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it is very like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 movement and going through, it's wild.
Muscle memory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a sweet event. It'll be fun.
I'm really looking forward to it. And great time of year to be in Montana too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, get me back up there. Usually June's my month. I'm up in Montana all the time because there's like seminar things I do, and like just move the office up there. And say,
being up there in June sounds pretty fantastic.
It's going to be nice.
It'll be about 110 here, windy.
Yeah.
Let's go to Montana.
It's also a good segue though, because 6 Hours now a sponsor of the Big Hunt Guys podcast.
Yes, they are.
Nice.
So we are very excited about that.
Yep, presented by 6 Hour.
That's awesome.
They're doing some phenomenal things for Western hunting. It's really cool. I mean, we talked about the Zulu 6s. This all came about super organic. We talk about the Zulu 6s so much and how they've changed our hunting style. And like very, very rarely does something come across where it legitimately changes your style of hunting. You know what I mean? Like your setup. And they've done it.
The Zulu 6 is crazy too, because I remember when we first got our hands on them, we went on a Africa youth hunt through a MtnTough guy right after we got him. So a guy that had been doing MtnTough for a long time asked if we wanted to help him create this pilot program for youth hunting, because he had 2 young daughters. I have 2 young daughters, and he was sick of kids on technology all the time. Mm-hmm. So he has this South African hunting business, and we took like 16 of us went over, and it was focused on the kids for a week. So there were 16 of us, but we only had 1 pair of the Zulu 6s because we just got them. And when you see them at first, you're like, this is kind of silly.
Yeah, they look gimmicky. Like just the shape, size, weight.
They don't look like you're going to love them.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree.
But by the end of the week, people were like fighting over those things.
Yeah.
It makes that much of a difference that you just want to get your hands on them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I got a similar story. We were helping one of Chris Porter's buddies on the very first antelope tag he had here in Nevada. And it was me, Brady, Chris, Zach Harpin, and Scott Butler, the Air Force pilot that we're real close with. And Zach was the one with the tag, and we were out there. And this was when Zulus were like pretty new. You had been running them for a little bit.
I had a few years of experience with them.
He had talked me into it by that time. So him and I had them and no one else. And Porter is the king of, what would we say? King of opinion without experience.
King of opinion, yes.
King of opinion without experience. That's why we love him. And it was one of those things, right? Like they don't look like what you're getting from them, right? It's just, it doesn't match optically from the actual use of them. And he's asking about it, and we're like, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it's crazy, right? Next thing we know, they're all asking to use ours because we finally got the buck we wanted, and we're looking at him in a field where we couldn't shoot him. He's out in this ag field, couldn't shoot him. And him and I are like, oh, he's got his mouth open. Oh, he's feeding. Oh, he might lay down. And they're all going, what the hell are you guys?
You can see all
No
of it.
tripod,
Yeah.
no nothing.
Yeah.
And so then we started fighting over our Zulus as well. Like they all stopped using theirs and just wanted to use ours. And we're like, bro, I don't have extras. Like, come on.
Yeah. Even traveling around, we were trying to relocate that antelope. I was looking out in that field.
Yeah.
And everyone's trying to set up their tripods, trying to put their binos on, put
And
their
Brady
bars
was
up.
just
I'm out there
had 'em.
scanning. It's like,
Boom.
boom, I found him.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a game changer. If we would have waited longer, maybe we would have been further away or behind something and never would have seen him. But like that quick
It
instant.
does
Yeah.
change the game. It's crazy.
It does. So anyways, long story, it was super organic. And we're like, yeah, we might as well. I mean, we talk about him so much, just organically. So might as well. So now we're presented by 6 Hour.
Yep.
That's
Pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
They're our title sponsor as well for the Mountain Tough podcast.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
here we go. Here we go.
Which we've had really similar experience. Like, I mean, like Patrick Hanley's team brought out the cross rifle to us like in 2017 or 18 with his huge initiative from SIG trying to get into the backcountry hunting game. And like they've been just great to work with ever since then.
That's something we have no experience in, though, is that cross.
Yeah.
Do you
I've
like
been,
it?
Yeah, I do. I like
Really?
it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing around with mine for a little bit now.
The one they sent for the Ark?
Yeah.
I got to go pick mine up.
Yeah, you should. Well, I love the
go get
foldable
it.
stock.
Yeah.
I can see like a backpack person, you want to fold that up so it's not sticking out of the top of my backpack. Like that it just works.
Yeah.
It's a solid system.
I'm excited to try it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Zulu 6 where at first you're thinking it looks a little too tactical.
Yeah.
But when you do fold it up and go through some brush, it's awesome.
Now you can customize the whole back end.
You could throw a 40-inch barrel on that, Brady. Just
Hey,
fold it up.
now we could fold
Now
it up.
Be back at the same line.
Just add some weight on it too for reasons that people love to make
for
fun
you.
of me. Just for me, yeah.
Just for Brady being Brady.
Bradyisms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited for the SIG games, shooting that cross and all that stuff. That'll be fun.
It's going to be fun. I know there's a fitness component too. I just don't know what it is yet.
I think you do know. You're just not telling us. Trying to get a leg up.
They're already warning me when we had a conference call the other week talking about it. They're like, yeah, we're going to do this Mountain Tough thing. He's going to probably suggest something, and then we're probably going to tone her back a little bit because they're just so crazy. And I'm like, no, let's go all out and just
Yeah.
make it really hard.
When Brady and I went up there and trained with you guys,
yeah.
I knew it was something different when I asking everybody's background, and everyone was ultra runners background. I'm like, okay, like
They were laughing at us.
this is different. Ultras are just on another level. Speaking of, he's going on an ultra.
Nice.
Young
This
Omar.
year.
Yeah, we should say
this
we have young Omar
Sweet.
on the podcast.
He doesn't need an introduction.
He doesn't.
He's just
need
young.
it.
Omar.
He's famous.
Yeah,
Not famous. Yeah,
What
I
is
got it. May 17th. 18th.
50K?
50 miler.
50 miler.
Yeah, 50 miler. I did the
Because 50K is 31.
50K, I think is like 32. And then I did the 60K last year, which I think is supposed to be 36. The K's all mess me up. I go by miles.
Yeah.
We're in America.
K's are confusing.
Yeah. K's are dumb. So I did the 60K last year. And then I'm doing the 50 miler this year. And then I want to do that to do the 100 miler next year. That's why I want to do it. So
There we go.
Are you still trying to get into Nick Bears?
And then, yeah, there's like a BPN thing that I want to try to get into. There's like doing a lottery, 100 runners.
Sweet.
I'll try to do that. That's in June.
How long is that one?
50 miler, but it's overnight. So that'd be
That's
really
cool.
Yeah.
We should
That'd
get some
be
draw
awesome.
odds for that.
Yeah, we should do some draws for that.
Which
Let's
race are you
reach out
doing?
to him.
Which race are you doing in May?
It's Bryce Canyon. I think it's put on through Vacation Races.
Sweet.
So yeah, it'll be in Utah. It's beautiful. It's got, I don't know all the fancy terms. I'm not a geologist of all the rocks and stuff, but they're all red. And it looks like
The red. That was a good. Yes,
the best way to put it. It looks like a
that was a young Omar right there.
Looks
I'm
like
not a
radiator
geologist.
mill.
They're all red.
There's some cool red rocks down there.
iron. I don't know. I'm just there to run. What's that?
80K.
Oh, 80K. Yeah.
80K,
What's the longest you've done, Dustin?
50Ks.
That's the longest.
Yeah.
So 31 miles. Yeah.
Yeah, 31 or 30.
God
something like
dang.
that.
What's like
a
the
different
nutrition level on a race like that? How do you stay like energized and hydrated?
You just got to force food down and you got to force
Are you
water
carrying
down.
it on you?
Oh, at the aid stations.
Oh, they just have
Yeah,
whatever
and
there.
gels is how
Gels?
I've done it.
What'd you do?
Yeah, lots of gels, then goos. Those things just start to suck after a while.
like
What'd you
choking
weigh when you ran yours? Like how big were you?
So when I was more involved with running and marathons and ultras, I was at like 165.
Wow.
I'm at like 195 now.
Yeah, because I mean, you're a built dude, so to run an ultra is like, be rough.
Yeah, I think you kind of just have to pick what you want to specialize in, and you can't be good at everything. I think the industry has learned a ton in the last 5 years just around more of like a hybrid athlete approach. Like Nick Bear's doing a great job of that. That stuff's so exciting to me.
The hybrid stuff.
Like how strong can you get with a ton of endurance?
Yeah.
That is, I think, the sweet spot. It makes things really fun and interesting. It's really kind of optimal for a hunter to live in that world too.
Is your programming at MtnTough like very built on that hybrid athlete style?
Our programming at MtnTough is very hybrid. We were doing basically hybrid training before it was articulated as a term in the last couple of years, just without really knowing that. But we essentially wanted the same thing for like an elite backcountry do-it-yourself hunter. They have to have crazy good endurance, stamina, cardio, mental toughness, but they also need a strength baseline to handle long, heavy pack outs with a low risk of injury. So it's really close to the hybrid athlete training styles that are talked about now. Ours still is going to have a little bit more lower weight, higher rep work because we don't want to get a hunter to pushing heavy weights and get them injured in preseason prep training.
Yeah.
And so like the heavy weights aren't worth the risk in a hunter for sure.
Yeah. That is kind of a weird, like once you start getting heavy enough, there is kind of diminishing returns on what our lifestyle is as hunters, right? It's like, man, there's the risk reward profile of some of those real heavy, high risk lifts like deadlifts and things like that. There's a level there where it should be capped for sure.
Yeah, it gets wild.
Yeah.
It's really, the older I've gotten, it's been kind of fascinating that you really do need to decide what you are training for and kind of go all in for that, because you just can't be good at everything. And so if you're spending a lot of time strength training, you're going to suffer on the cardio side. If you spend a lot of time on the cardio side, it's going to cannibalize your strength, which is fine as long as you know what your goal is. And the goal can change every year, or it can change multiple times per year. But you see athletes that are world class, like the best in the world, whether it's a squat world record holder or a deadlift world record holder or like an Olympic skier or swimmer. Like their whole life revolves around one thing. And that's hard to do when you are like a hunter, a business owner, and a family man.
Absolutely.
You kind of have to pick your style around that.
Yep. That you're speaking exactly my language there, right? I enjoy the thought of being able to train like that. You know what I mean? I would like to do something like that, but it's not my lifestyle. It's not conducive to my lifestyle. It's not going to set me forward for hunting. It's not going to set me forward as a parent. You know what I mean? It's going to take away from work. So it's like, okay, what is the thing that I'm after, right? It is just the most possible strength I can have with the highest level endurance. That's all I care about.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So since I got you here, Lorenzo, and we got Dustin, I'm going to ask a question that Lorenzo probably knows what I'm going to ask right now. What are your thoughts on running? Because Lorenzo's thoughts are never, 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 ever, ever run. And Lorenzo gives shit to Omar and I all the time because we both love to run. And obviously we lift as well, but we don't lift probably as much as we probably should.
Yep.
So he always gives us a hard time about running constantly. So what's your thoughts on running on the body?
Because Lorenzo hates running, or is it like a science?
He says he has a science and he'll go dive off the deep end if we want him to.
It's a little premature because I am going to do this.
You have to set the stage.
So here's the thing, right? What is running? What are you doing while you're running? Like, what is the purpose of running, right? It's to build your endurance, build your VO2 max, build your long, steady state, long acting muscles, right? So I want to do that for hunting, right? That's like the only reason I want to do it. And the act of hunting is a lot of rucking and a lot more muscle recruitment and muscle contraction during the act of hunting than in running. So my biggest thing with running, which this is why it's a little premature, and I'm going to get one of those where it measures the level of muscle recruitment for the activity itself. I can't remember what they're called, but I'm going to get this so I can prove it to Omar and Brady. But the amount of calf muscle recruitment and activation during a ruck or a hunt, for that matter, is like 10x the amount of a run. And the problem with a run, for me specifically, and I know everyone's different, I just give them shit so I can...
It is true. He does just give us shit just to give us shit.
But I'm 230 pounds as well, right? Like I've always been a bigger guy.
Yeah.
So running for me is talk about like the risk return profile, right? Like the returns I'm going to get on the risk I'm taking. I could do cardio much smarter that is a lot more conducive and a lot more, complementary to why I am doing it, which is to be a better hunter. I can still get the same level of VO2 max training. I can still get the level of, long-standing endurance training. I can still do all that. I just choose to do it through resistance, like, a fan bike or rucking or anything like that, instead of just plain running. Running has no resistance, which is why there's very little calf activation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think there's a strong argument to be made there that I think when we look across all the zones that need to be trained to be a solid cross-functional hybrid athlete, like you need zone 2 training, which is your lower heart rate, where your heart is increasing stroke volume, and it's going to keep you really healthy, and it's going to give you that long endurance. And that zone 2 is not your VO2 max. Your VO2 max is going to be like that zone 4 or 5.
And higher, yeah.
But zone 2 training pushes your lactate threshold to the right, so that when you do spike into zone 4 or 5 and you feel like your legs bonk and you feel like all that lactic acid in your legs, like you can move that to the right through zone 2, which is like really easy low heart rate training, which would be like a light jog or a run. And so that training helps when you're going up a really steep mountain and that lactate starts to dump because your heart rate went high enough. And so you'll see everyone knows a hunter that can just power straight up a mountain and their legs never get that. It's because they've moved that lactate dump to the right where their body could process it faster.
Yeah.
But that all comes from zone 2 training. A lot of people choose running for zone 2, 3, and sometimes 4 because they like running and they'd rather run than ride a spin bike or an assault bike. But you can get the same benefit from a spin bike or an assault bike or rucking or walking. I think it's the zone 2 that's important.
Yeah.
But when in MtnTough last year, Donnie Bigham built a strength program in our app, and he was the chief of human performance for the U.S. Army. And he really loves these kinds of discussions from your point of you have to decide how much impact you want to put on your body, because that impact is eventually going to cause some problems. And so in his world in the military, he had to get all of those guys really, really good at rucking, but he didn't want to beat them up with impact every day to get them good at rucking. And that's kind of what would happen with you with running. Is you could run to work on your endurance, cardio, and stamina, but the impact is not worth it. It would be more wise to run occasionally because there are some benefits there, but then to get most of your cardio and endurance training on a low impact machine or device.
Yeah, so you're much more knowledgeable on the subject, which I appreciate. He's telling you guys that I'm not entirely wrong.
It's true. Your body type's different.
I've been training for long enough to understand these things just through, my own personal research and just how I feel in general, right? I've never been a small guy. I went into high school at 210 and I came out of high school at 235. And it's I literally haven't been below 200 pounds. And I don't know how, since I was full grown. And it's running for me when I was playing a sport, cool. I needed to be fast to play football. So that's what I did. Now I don't need to be fast. You know, I don't need to be fast in that manner with hunting. I just need to be able to go forever.
Yeah.
Which I do a lot of zone 2 training. So Brady and I wear these whoop straps, and I try on my zone 2 training days or cardio training days, which I do 3 of. So I do 3 days lifting, 3 days cardio. I try to do the exact same amount of zone 2 as zone 3, 4 combined. So I'll do like an hour of zone 2, and then I'll do an hour of zone 3, 4 combined. And that's just it's really put me in a good spot. Like that's where I definitely feel the best. And I'm able to keep my strength, not doing cardio on the same days that I'm lifting, so I can focus on what that day is. Right. So that's where I've transitioned into from being a complete meathead, like 3-4 years ago. I was a little too heavy then. I was like 255 and way too strong.
Did you feel it in the mountains?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I didn't feel terrible, but it wasn't perfect for me. You know what I mean? Like I could tell I was carrying around way too much muscle than I needed. You know what I mean? It was fun to be in the gym and doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I just got way too addicted to that. And, you know, things come with maturity and age, and I'm getting up there now, being a parent of 2. So I'm like, yeah, what am I doing this for? You know what I mean? Deadlifting like crazy and bench press like crazy and all this stuff. So now that's where I've gotten into, and I've focused a lot on zone 2. You know, you listen to Peter Attia and all these guys talking about the importance of zone 2 just on the overall longevity of health. Then also you bring that to like the lactate threshold. Yeah. That's perfect for hunting. It's literally perfect for hunting.
It is.
The more you can move that, the better you're going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. The zone 2 is hard to do for a lot of people too, though, because it is so moderate.
Yeah. It's like you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
It's boring. I watch a show. That's my time to watch a show.
Yeah. It's like so valuable, but so boring, hard to do, but incredibly helpful. I think the rucking is one great way to get it done.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal way. That's what I like to do in the summer more, is get the weight vest on, do some rucking, or just throw a loaded backpack on and go up.
Exactly. And I ruck with my day pack weight, which is 40 pounds. So that's what I ruck with. And then as it gets closer to hunting, I may bump it up to just get my, posterior chain ready and kind of the impact on the feet ready for something like a pack out.
Like what we did last year?
Yeah, like what we did last year. We kind of bumped as the weeks went by, we would bump it up 10 pounds, and we ended up getting to 100 before we left.
Yeah.
Which on a shorter, not an hour long, but shorter ruck. But honestly, that's like the way I do it, how you said it's boring. It always was really hard for me to do, and I was always just way more into weightlifting.
Yeah.
It was fun, and rucking at zone 2 wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, being a father of 2 now, I have very little personal time. And I love watching documentaries, and I love watching like crazy shit. You know what I mean? So now I literally I go in, and I'm watching Masters of the Air right now on Apple TV, which is awesome. And then I'm watching Full Swing on Netflix, which is one of the golf shows, which is awesome. So I'll go in and I'll watch an episode of Masters of the Air in zone 2, and then I'll watch Full Swing in zone 3. And it's like, all right, perfect. There's my shows, and now I'm back into the house and being a dad and have no time past that to watch anything ever. Yeah. It's always cartoons and kid shit on TV. So that's what I do.
There's a lot of benefits of that, though. Like the family can get involved. Family can get involved on rucking, especially when it goes outside. And at MtnTough, this has been a common theme that has come up a lot lately in the last couple podcasts. Is there are a lot of people that are going to. It is more common than not that folks are going to train in the gym for like a hunt of a lifetime, a dream hunt. They're going to focus on some gym training or running or just bodybuilding. They might make some mistakes there, but what happens over and over again with folks that we talk to is they spend all of their time focused on the gear that they're going to take on that hunt. So they are picking like the perfect boot and the perfect rifle and the perfect pack, but they're never actually going out and using that gear before this dream hunt, which causes more problems than almost anything, because then they've never played with like how their pack fits and how their traps are going to feel, how their hips are going to feel, how the straps handle that weight, how they strap on that 60 pounds, how their boots are creating some hot spots. And then they get on the dream hunt and they might be in really good physical shape because they trained really hard. But on that dream hunt, they can't really like look out and have their eyes up and focus on the hunt because they're tweaking with their gear the whole time, or their gear is causing some real problems because they haven't used it at all.
Yeah.
So rucking, not only are you getting that zone 2, but you're also getting all of that experience with your gear because you're usually going to use the pack you're hunting with.
Absolutely.
On those
The
longer
boots and
rucks, you're going to use the boots. So that's a game changer for
Yeah,
sure.
you're speaking our language there. That's what we talk about. Like, you guys are the professionals on the fitness side. Like, we think of ourselves as professionals on the gear side for whatever it's worth. And that's what we always talk about is like the gear is only as good as when you put it to use and get to know it. Like that's when the gear is, it's what gear is supposed to be, right? It's like it's supposed to be there for you to help you. It's supposed to make things better or easier. It's not supposed to make your life harder. It's like the Zulu 6s, right?
Yep, makes
your life a lot easier. So that's the definition of gear when you're going into buying stuff, right? So it's why would you go spend all that money and especially put all that time and energy into the gym to get ready for it? But then everything you're taking on the hunt, it's never seen the light of day yet, right? It's like you got to get to know that just as much as you're getting to know your body.
Yeah.
It's like it's very important.
Yeah, it seems to cause more problems than even just uncomfortable gear. It's like there's an issue with like someone who's very familiar with their gear is very focused on the hunt and what the animals are doing, and their situational awareness is really high. But someone struggling with their gear is focused on that more than they are the situation around them.
Yeah.
It causes some big problems.
Talking Brady there. Brady's so familiar with his gear. Holy shit. That's it. Like he literally just lays it out and looks at it, uses it, looks at it again.
You always got to stay ready. Pack and repack things, move things around, reorganize the man cave a little bit, touch it, play with it, take it out, little trips.
Don't touch and play with it too much.
Hey.
Go blind that way.
That's a cool thing, though, I think, because I was talking to John Barclow about this a couple weeks ago, and Barclow is really big on hunters, especially beginner hunters, finding ways where they can backpack with the family in the summer, where they can shed hunt and bear hunt before this dream hunt comes up. And that's so accurate. Like I was telling him, like there's these Bozeman legends, these Bozeman legend hunters, and of course they have nice gear. It's nice, well-used gear. But when you're with them, you realize like they have like the perfect system in their pack, not because they packed it specifically for that hunt. They kind of did, but they know everything about their system because they just shed hunted with it a bunch, and then they spring bear hunted with it a bunch, and then they backpacked with their family to some lakes, and now they're using that same gear on that hunt. So their system is completely dialed. Their first time in the outdoors for that year is not on the hunt of a lifetime. That's like their 100th time outdoors.
Yep.
But I think a lot of beginners kind of miss that path. So
Absolutely.
they're spending all the time preparing for that trip, researching, watching videos, shooting their rifle, working out in the gym, but they're not actually becoming better outdoorsmen in the process.
Yeah, you need to know how to adjust your pack, like just a waist belt, just a shoulder straps as the day goes on. If it's heavy or lighter, like all that
As
stuff
you
comes
lose weight,
into play.
like it's inevitable. You're going to lose weight as well, you know?
And how to move with the pack. Like even that's a big thing. Like that just takes a wear and tear on your body. Like if you don't know what you're doing.
And that's, I think scouting, like we talk about scouting quite a bit if you can, right? If you can put boots on the ground and go scouting, it's never a waste of time because at least you're out there with the gear that you're using. You're learning topography. You're learning, the footing on the ground you're in. Like Mexico is very, very weird place. Everything in Mexico is round. Everything. Is it not?
Yeah,
Like
your stability in your feet is never easy because you're always looking at the ground and everything wants to kill you too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the difference of that to like a high country Colorado where you're in like that nice dirt, not rocky stuff or good vegetation, all that. It's like there's a big difference. And if you just went out there scouting once or twice and whatever the ground looks like there, you're going to learn a lot just in that, You're out there with your pack, you're hopefully going to find an animal, right? That's the goal. But even if you don't, it's never a waste of time because you're out with your shit. You're out with your gear, getting to learn it.
Game changer.
Yeah.
You're learning the roads, what goes in your truck, what doesn't go in your truck.
Roads, everything.
Yeah.
Like scouting is important. Now I don't get to do that being where I'm at in my life, like Brady gets to, or like Omar gets to, that's why I turned to rucking,
Brady, what's the best you've ever felt training wise going into hunting season?
In all honesty, the best I've ever felt was when I literally did a lot of weightlifting. Like when like Renzo said, he's never been below 200. I've only been above 200 very few times. And when the times I have, I feel like I could crush the mountains. I could crush them right now because of cardio level, all that stuff. But it's more so, I think, on the recovery side. Like when I'm actually, when I get over 200 pounds, I got a lot of strength on me. Those heavy pack outs, I'm able to recover the next day just fine. Or if I'm going to really long pack in with, like we're going to do here, bear hunting, I'm carrying 70 pounds, that next day, I'm going to probably feel a little crappy because I don't have the muscle capacity to continue to do all that. But like those days years when I've spent so much time lifting weights and not doing as much cardio, I feel great. I can still do it now, but I know I perform better when I was above that. And I'm trying to strive to get back to that level again. Like it's hard for me because my body just burns calories. Like I eat, like I can crush food and I won't gain any weight. Like,
but Brady and I are literally the exact opposite. Like his honestly, it's funny because then him and I will talk about gear, and there's a lot of similarities, but there's a ton of differences as well, obviously. Like his baseline is through the roof cardio and endurance, like absolute through the roof. That's his baseline. My baseline is strength. Like even if I don't lift, I'm strong. Even if he doesn't do cardio, he's in great shape, right? So like him and I, we're always talking about, like our gear and the differences and things. We're literally the exact opposite. Yeah. He's tall and lanky. I'm short and stocky. Like it's wild how different we are.
But then I noticed too, though, like when I'm at a higher weight, more muscle, I'm having to carry a lot more food too. And so I'm having to add more weight to it. Like right now I can get by with a little less food and I'm still pretty energized throughout the day. So there's like give and take, I think, with my body too, that I'm trying to find that perfect balance. But I think for me, it might be like, getting my weight back to 200. Like if I can do 200 and do cardio right now, like again, the hybrid style, like if I can do that, I think I'm in prime condition. Because I don't feel like, as I'm aging, like I still feel like I'm in the prime of my life right now. I feel like mountains are, I crush them. I always say my body's a cheat code in the mountains. I have the longest legs possible.
Long legs.
Yeah.
And quads, I have calves.
Mid-30s. We're in the prime.
We're in the prime.
We're in the prime.
You're here first.
And I'm leaning on science for that one.
What's Omar then?
Coming into his prime. You're young.
I'll be 27.
Yeah, you haven't started your prime yet.
Yeah.
Still a little baby.
Yeah, still a little baby.
I just got to try to find that balance. And like you said, it's hard to do because I love running, I love hiking and all that stuff, but then I just lose weight when I do all that stuff.
Like with you as your profession, because you're obviously a lot more knowledgeable, you prefer being 195 hunting than you were 165?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a big reason for the creation of MtnTough was a couple of those light bulb moments. And when I started MtnTough in 2016, it was right after that heavy season of running and doing ultras throughout the Rocky Mountain West. And my wife and I, we went super into it. We kind of go over the top on stuff that we get involved in. And so we ended up running a marathon a month for a year.
Holy shit.
So we did one every month for 12 months. And then that led into the summer in the Rocky Mountain West. And the summer is like trail marathon season. And a lot of those trail marathons, and then in that day, there wasn't as many of the like 100 and 200 mile races that you see now. Which is another topic of just how far human performance has come in the last decade. But it was a lot of the 50Ks and 50 miles. And then the 100 miles were kind of rare in 2016. But we were doing as many of them as we could and no kids at that time. So we were just bouncing around, running a lot. And at first, I thought it was kind of the perfect answer because you're running a trail marathon in the mountains that a lot of times you get a hunt like 2 months later, especially in Montana. So you're running high elevation and 2 months later in September, you probably can hunt elk in that exact same range, really nearby where the trail marathon is. And it actually ended up being one of my worst pack outs of all time that season that I was doing all of that running. And I had done in previous years a ton of gym training with this group of guys that were wildland firefighters, and they were lifting specifically not to get big, but to be better wildland firefighters. So I kind of went from that experience into cutting way back on that lifting into the running experience. And you are lean and mean and can fly through the backcountry, but you do really pay the price for it under heavy loads. And that for me was when the kind of the MtnTough light bulb went off of someone should train mission specifically for this job, because that is what kind of how we started the podcast today. That is what all other professional sporting groups do. All elite athletes do. The military does this. They essentially, like, you have to decide what you want to be good at and then break down the skill requirements for that job and then train to those skill requirements. And because that season after all of that running was my worst pack out ever, the reason was because I had lost enough muscle and enough weight that heavy pack outs were much harder and a much higher risk of injury as well. And so that's really when we kicked off, is like, let's create a lab. Let's break down what works on the mountain, what doesn't, and let's train to these specific skill requirements.
Yeah. It's a good way to look at it. It's exactly right too. I mean, you got to break it down to understand what the skill requirements are before you even start, right? I think that's obviously what you should be doing. That's why you need to lift, young Omar.
I do lift.
You do not lift.
I just don't post it on Instagram.
Oh, right.
I did the legs this morning.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
He does. I will say he does do morning workouts a lot. And right now he's doing a little bit more running, but like, because he's getting ready for his marathon thing, but like, or
Ultra.
Ultra, sorry.
How dare you
I know. It's
disrespect
almost
him
double.
saying it's a marathon.
He does lift a lot. But I guess that's like you're saying, like, that's exactly my mentality, why I need to get stronger right now.
Yeah.
And I have also a hard time, though, continuing to lift weights during hunting season because I'm so focused, work stuff's going crazy. And so that's where I have a hard time, too, because I'll work all winter to gain strength and all throughout the summer. And then once hunting season comes, I'm in pretty good shape, strength-wise, and then I lose it all during hunting season. Like, come November, I will literally drop down 175 pounds.
It's crazy.
And I can't afford to lose that weight. Like, I just lose muscle. Like, if I stop for that little short period of time, I'm gone.
You guy's 6'6".
Yeah.
Weighing 170 pounds.
It's insane. Like, it's,
I have like a 30-inch NC for his waist. Wow.
His jeans are a 30 by 38. Most people are the exact
30 by
opposite.
38.
technically, it's a 32, 38.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. Those hips, man. Those hips don't lie.
So, like, that's where I need to also improve is, like, workouts during the hunting season and not just, like, give up and just, like, keep prepping for something else or, you know, going doing something else on the weekend, help another person hunt, but, like, trying to still stack the strength up and maintain it through it.
Yeah.
That's tough for as much as you're hunting too. I think.
And just the way his body is, it's built for endurance already. You know what I mean? That's his baseline. So the first thing to go is the strength that he put on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And trying to eat enough through hunting season.
Eating after hunting season is hard. Like, trying to pack all that weight in the mountains too. Like, you just can't do it. I don't think it's.
I mean, you can.
Yeah. Just a little bit
Gotta
more weight.
decide.
So you're saying I have to drop the BTX 115 and pack more food?
I mean, yeah.
Start. It's got the 14.5 pound rifle.
Maybe there's a little poundage savings in the rifle and the optics, but
Yeah.
again, a lot of people give Brady shit for it, but I'm going to have his back on this. It talk about mission specific, like you're out there to kill.
Yeah.
And if you got the optics and I don't understand how people can talk shit on that because, I mean, that is your tools of the trade right there. But could there be some
Could be
efficiency
better. Yes, like you
savings
said,
maybe?
the heavy packs. That's
Could
where
you make
gets
it
me.
better?
Like, I have the
Probably.
endurance to go, and the guy I can climb a mountain and not like bonk going up it. But yeah, the weight packing out. That's where gets me.
Yeah.
You see that a lot. You see that a lot with like high endurance athletes. The game changes when that heavy pack does go on. And it's interesting because it's all of our lowest deficiencies that we need to work on the most, that cause the most problems. So like Lorenzo, yours is going to be the running type cardio.
Yeah.
And then Brady, yours is going to be the strength training. That's your lowest deficiency. You guys have opposite deficiencies. And all the time our lowest efficiency is the thing that is generally our least favorite and the thing that we least want to do. But it's like the thing that we least want to do is the thing that we should be doing the most. Because if we can bring that lowest efficiency up and it becomes a middle deficiency, we've changed the game completely.
Yeah. And that's, speaking of that, so I was lifting 6 days a week with one recovery day when I was strong as could be in 255. That was not good. So I've been working on, getting better on my deficiencies through the last couple of years. Well, now finally I'm to a point where I can get myself to do cardio just as much as I'm lifting. So I'm literally on a 3-day split of lifting and cardio. I've never done this much in my entire life.
That's huge.
And to speak for it too is actually this morning I was 226 and still have all my strength. So right there, it's like, okay, well, something's working. You know what I mean? Like I still have my strength and I'm 7 pounds lighter than I was last year. So something's changing.
Yeah, that's what you want for sure.
What's new at MtnTough?
We've had a cool couple of years. The big evolutions that have been awesome for us are loading a lot of daily content into our app. So when you guys came up to see us, this didn't exist yet. But one of the things that we recognized were that a lot of people will do like a 4-week program, and then when they're done with it, they will switch and look for something new. Or a lot of people want something fresh every single day. And we've known that too, where if you go to a really good class at your gym or a really good CrossFit class, part of the magic there is your buddies are there. There's some competition. It's brand new every day. And so the last couple of years, we've been trying to recreate that digitally through our app. So we have a minimal gear daily now, and we have a gym daily and a mobility daily. They're new every 24 hours and they expire every 24 hours. And those products in the app have changed the game a lot. It is very close to having like a backcountry hunting personal trainer in your pocket now. And so like the minimal gear daily, about half of Americans now are training with minimal gear in garages or basement type gyms. And so that is a big audience for us, and it's very common in the hunting industry. COVID made that big shift. And
I was one of those.
Yeah, COVID
garage gym, squat racks, everything in there now. Kettlebells, sandbags.
People love it. Yeah, your family's there. You don't have to drive. You don't have to adjust your schedule as much. And so, like the minimal gear daily in MtnTough now, you hit play. It's going to be brand new for today. There'll be a MtnTough coach there coaching you for today. And then there's 2 MtnTough athletes that you're competing and benchmarking off of. So it has that feeling of like a backcountry hunting class with minimal gear. And it creates that FOMO too, because once you get started, if you miss today, you're like, oh man, I can't even see what happened today if I missed it, because it's going to expire tonight. And that quickly became some of our most popular products. A lot of people still look for like the 12-week mission specific plan, especially with different hunts happening at different times of the year across different hemispheres. But for people that just want to stay very functionally fit, kind of in that hybrid athlete manner, the MGD, the minimal gear daily, and the gym daily have just kind of skyrocketed for us.
That minimal workout you guys have, it's pretty incredible. Honestly, like it's a damn good workout.
Man,
Cooler in a backpack and a couple dumbbells or kettlebells, like holy shit.
It doesn't take much.
No, that's a smoker of a workout. That's cool. It's really cool. Isn't that what you were doing?
Mm-hmm. I was doing that for a while last year. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Before you built out like the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Yeah. Now I got my home gym kind of dialed. I'm still looking at picking up some more bigger sandbags and stuff like that. And
how long are those workouts? Like if somebody, like I'm pretty time crunched, right? So like how long are these workouts?
Yeah. So our minimal gear dailies, 35 minutes with warm up and cool down. And then our gym daily is 45 minutes with warm up and cool down.
And then what's the mobility?
Mobility daily is always like 8-9 minutes.
So it's not crazy.
Yeah. The mobility one's big. I mean, most hunters in their 40s and 50s, the big problems they're going to run into are going to come out of mobility. And
Hip mobility mostly.
hip mobility.
Yeah.
Hip mobility for
That's an important one.
Western hunting is huge.
Yep. I focus a lot on hip mobility.
Yeah.
A lot.
Deadfall, uneven terrain
Yeah.
is going to cause a lot of problems.
That's where a lot of people can, like him and I went on our elk hunt together. It's just deadfall mecca of the world. It's incredible, actually. It makes the hunting fun, honestly, because those bulls want to circle you, but on it they can't. Like some of that deadfall is just so bad they can't get the wind right. They just have to come in, and it's a wilderness. A lot of things add up to calling in bulls there. But you also have to deal with the deadfall too, right? And so like you're always climbing and hiking and lifting over something with the heavy pack on. And I mean, ever since I was hunting backcountry elk stuff, you realize real quick that your hips.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how strong you are and how good a shape you're in. If your hips start to go, you got a day of recovery, a day of like not moving, maybe even 2 days.
Well,
Like
if those hip
staying close
flexors
to
light
camp.
up, yeah.
It's done. Like that's something you can't work through.
Yeah.
I think one of the cool things though is like when you are like in that good shape and you know you can handle the deadfall, and we're like looking at each other like we did on that elk hunt, we're like, well, no one else is getting back here, so
Yeah.
we have it all to ourselves, which is
That
like a
is
huge
nice.
unlock.
Yeah.
Omar, what were you guys doing for your workouts before you went on the elk hunt?
We were rucking a lot.
Yeah.
We'd do like our individual like lifts and stuff, and then we would ruck in the mornings, and then I think the cool thing too is we'd shoot our bows with that weight on too.
That was
huge.
That's the other thing.
That's
that was right. I had that emergency stomach surgery right before. I was in really good shape before because I was supposed to be going on a stone sheep hunt in August, and then 4 days before I was leaving, I had a stomach surgery. So it set me back a little bit. So the only thing I could do was ruck, right? It was the only thing we really could do. So that's basically what we were doing. I did a lot of hip mobility in the morning before I'd leave to go do that. I'd do a lot of hip stretching and mobility stuff. No weights or anything. I'd do one like Joe talked about it on that monkey foot gym or whatever. You can hook a dumbbell or a kettlebell to the bottom of your shoe
Get
and
that
just do
flexor.
hip flexors. So I do those a lot, and I do a lot of hip flexor stretches. And then we'd go ruck. And then the other thing, just mission specific, I think a lot of people, what they don't do, talking about using their gear and all this stuff, no one shoots with their pack on. And I can't remember the last time I took a bow shot without a pack on. It's just, it's what happens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to do that if you don't have to.
Yeah.
But when you're chasing bull elk down in the rut and you're calling them in, like you're on their
happens
schedule,
all
man.
the time.
Like you're chasing that herd until one finally decides, like, oh, I've heard that cow call for the last 2 hours. I'm going to come check it out. You would love to plan, I'm going to drop my pack and go make a move. But a lot of the times it's them making a move on you and you're sitting there with your pack on. So figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So I'd make him shoot with his pack on every day. That's something I've done ever since I went with trail and like that was a thing, said I'm never shooting without a pack on ever again.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's different too.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny because I remember the first time we did the ruck and we were going to shoot our bows, I was like taking my pack off. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, we're done, right? It's like, no, we got to shoot with our packs on.
That's
and then
sweet.
fast forward to the hunt, like, we shot I killed my bull with my pack on.
Is there
That's
anything
incredible.
Is there anything after that hunt, looking back now, because it was successful, carrying out heavy weight, that you wish you would have done to prep for that hunt?
Lift weights.
Yeah, lift weights. I
His
think
little sticks are shaking like a leaf on the way down.
more legs, definitely for sure. And then I think also too, I don't do any mobility, any stretching, and it's terrible. But
You're not old enough yet.
I'm
You'll
just
see.
like, I
You'll
had like
see.
that mentality. I was like, I'm young, like I don't need to do
It's
this.
going to
but-
catch up with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm like thinking about right now. It lit a light bulb in my head. It's like, I got to look at this MtnTough mobility stuff.
Yeah, I do a lot of shoulder mobility because I got a bad shoulder from football. I have a replaced left shoulder. Then hips are just, as you get older, it's like that's where it's at right there.
Yeah.
All in the hips.
I think it's important to talk about that deadfall too, because there are so many great hunts where it is like that wicker basket for miles and miles and miles. And
Yep.
unless you've done a fair amount of hunting, if you're coming out from the Midwest for your first time ever, you might have no idea that wicker basket exists or what it even feels or looks like. But stepping over log over log over log, and then getting on top of a slippery log, coming down off a log, your hips get smoked. And if you're not doing any sort of mobility work there, or like lateral movement, lateral lunges, that catches up with people fast. You can even see it if you go to like a football game, the UFC that we're going to tomorrow. If you look around, what you'll notice is like 40 and 50 and 60-year-old men have a very difficult time moving laterally through bleachers. Like at a football game, you'll see like a 50-year-old guy will have to turn. He can't step sideways up the bleachers because all that hip mobility hasn't been worked on or is gone. And if you put that into a deadfall scenario, you have some real problems. So I think that is a big one for people to know.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I can speak for myself, and I would imagine some other people would say the same, but like the hip flexor light up, I can't work through that. Like that's debilitating to me. You know what I mean? I can work through a lot of pain and suffering, but when my hips go, like I'm toast.
You're down for the day, at least.
And I've really focused on that, like big time.
Like another huge one that people underlook is coming down really steep country under load. So it's very common for people nowadays to train for hunting and do some ruck work and do some steep climbs. But on a lot of Western hunts, it's that 80-pound pack coming straight downhill for 4 hours that causes some major issues.
And that's why, like I am rucking indoors right now on Stairmaster and treadmills just for time savings purposes. But as it gets closer, I absolutely go outside, because if you ruck outside, you don't just get to like go walk in your house. You have to walk down the hill now, which is a very important thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a big part of it.
Downhill is
a big part of it.
Especially when you got long legs like mine.
You're like a llama. You're better at going up than you are down.
Going up.
Yeah.
What do you do nutrition wise on backcountry hunts? So you're like, not exactly what you do, but calorie wise, or some typical items that you like to pack with you?
Yeah. So for the hunt, not for training, I always think about it for me that I'm going to burn around 8,000 calories a day ish. We did some research on that a few years ago for like calorie tracking and heart rate tracking, and depending on elevation gain and loss for trips, I have it all in this spreadsheet that's based off this like old military data. But for like a 40-year-old 200-pound male, it is for me in that spreadsheet it always comes out right around 8,000 calories a day, which is big because it's the calorie deficit that creates a bonk.
Yeah, and recovery. Yeah, it subs your recovery. Like it's all about the calories you put back in, so you can get back to where you need to be to start.
Yeah, it's big, and it's funny because like I know I can't pack 8,000 calories a day for backcountry hunts. You could, but you don't want to. It's just too much.
Yeah,
and it's just very difficult to even come close to eating 8,000 calories a day.
Yeah,
like eating much over 5 is challenging, where you're just eating all the time. But it has been a big eye opener for me that managing that deficit does change the game, because like a 1-day deficit you don't really feel, but a 2, 3, 4, 5 day deficit, that is where you're going to have no recovery and start bonking on the mountain. And so for me now, it's packing as much as possible to get as close to that like 5,000 or 6,000 calories a day. And I break it down into daily bags. And the reason I do the daily bags is because a lot of times on some hunts, you're just not that hungry. And if I know like day one, that bag has 5,000 calories in it, and it's my job to eat all those before day one is over, then I feel much better and perform much better than packing it. And then like if you're cold and glassing or something, you're not eating as much. And then you end up with all that day one food and day two, and then that bonk starts to kick in. But in terms of items and products, mine's kind of all over the board. I look for really good, high quality dehydrated meals, and then high calorie per ounce food. So I'm eating like honey stingers all the time on the move, the waffles.
Yep.
But it seems to be like the fat that changed the game for me more, because like that, the honey stinger is great on the move, but that's giving you glucose, which is that short burning fuel. But making sure I have some high fat items in my pack have definitely made a big difference, like coconut oil in my coffee in the morning. And then I'll bring like high fat salami, even though it's heavy, but like getting your body to burn some of that fat and not burn your muscle does help a bunch with that.
Macadamia nuts are a good one too for high fat, high calorie. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I learned that one from you.
Macadamia nuts were a game changer.
Those are solid.
It's crazy by the end of hunting season, like you've had so many snacks and bars. Yeah. You're just looking for something new to throw in your pack.
Yeah, you don't want any more of them. Especially, I don't do dehydrated because of I got a real sensitive stomach to it. I don't know what it is. Like my stomach's not terrible outside of those things, right? And I wouldn't say it's an iron gut like Brady over here, but I mean it's I don't know. So it's hard for me to get a lot of calories because I don't even eat the dehydrated stuff.
What do you go with?
I do a lot of like whole food organic style bars. I do a lot of that. I do a lot of jerky, like unsugared jerky. I do a lot of salted, like biltong style, because sodium salt obviously is extremely important. A lot of macadamia nuts, a lot of I do like Fritos. I mean, it's just corn and oil. It's a good one, and they're super light. I mean, they have a ton. You don't feel like you ate, but at least you got the calories.
Got some calories,
and they don't weigh anything. The only problem with Fritos is you literally feel like you didn't eat. That's like, okay, got the calories, but I don't feel it. I do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and for those listening to, you did have an article that you wrote for me last year, Lorenzo's Backcountry, macro food breakdown.
I do
so you guys
macro.
can check that out on GOHUNT.
A macro breakdown of it too, like you said, the fats.
Yeah.
So like I eat macros on a daily basis. And I'm always fluctuating just depending on what I'm doing. Like right now I'm at 3,100 in total calories, and I'm at 50% protein, 30% carbs, 20% fat. And when I go hunting, I usually take that fat up to like 50, like 50% of my total calories, just for that long recovery style, good sleep, good recovery, and that lung burning fuel.
Yeah.
And then I do a lot of that. Like I do honey stingers as well, just for the quick stuff. And then I do a lot of those high quality bars. The only problem with the bars though too is some of them have a lot of seed oils and shit like that, which I don't like, but I mean, I gotta eat, you know what I mean? I gotta eat. So, I wanted what we're talking about doing though is getting a freeze dryer. We've been talking to Brian Call and Ryan Lampers and doing our own with not dehydrated, doing freeze dried.
Yeah, get those big harvest rights.
Yeah, so
That'd be sweet.
If we do that, I'm going to do a shitload of bacon, a shitload of eggs, sweet potatoes. Like that's what I would love to have in the backcountry.
Yeah. At least there's some better backcountry meals nowadays than a decade ago. There's some
There's better ones.
Yeah.
Better ones for sure. I don't know if it's like the dehydrated process that's hard on my stomach. I don't know, but I don't know whatever's going on there. But I haven't had a great experience yet. We'll just put it that way. Lost some hunting time.
That fat is a game changer. I think about like what I packed as a kid, and even 10 years ago, we packed like ramen noodles. We packed tuna packets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The little tuna creations.
I used to eat like
Nothing
shit
in
in the
there.
backcountry.
Yeah. And all of hunting is fat burning mode.
Yeah.
Like all of hunting, it's very rare in hunting you're going to get in zone 3, 4, or 5, or at least 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So all your 1, 2, 3 is all fat burning.
Yeah.
And most of the time, unless you're
And when you're in the
thinking
cold too. If
The
you're
cold
sitting
is
there in the
low
cold,
fat.
it's all fat burning.
Yeah. That fat can change the game.
That's what I really, over the last couple years, when I started bringing macros into the backcountry, that's when I'm like, okay, this is it. Like, this is different, you know?
Yeah. And those healthy fats are all like your cognitive function.
Yeah.
So you're
Mental
thinking,
clarity.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah, we had a camera guy that came with us to New Mexico, and I packed his food, and I pack it pretty clean and like look at the calories and all that stuff. And he was like, "Just give me like a bunch of sugar and like all this crap." I'm like, I'm gonna get you the gummy bears, but like I'm gonna pack it my style. And after the hunt, he was like, "Dude, I felt great. Like you got to tell me like what you packed for me so I could pack it back home."
Yeah,
it makes like the difference. And like once you see that,
he's a stud too.
Yeah,
like
he's a stud.
He is a stud, man. He's one of the most studly cameramen we've been around just for what he did and how much weight, and he even helped us pack out.
Yeah.
It wasn't part of his job, right? But
yeah,
he's a New Zealander, and they get to hunt any day, anytime. Like they don't have seasons, none of that
Steep
stuff.
country.
Super steep country, and so their whole thing is like usually when they hunt, they're going out for 2-3 days, right? Because it's out of one of those houses or whatever he was talking about.
Yeah.
It's like rented back Forest Service or something.
right?
Like
Yeah,
that.
kind of like Alaska.
Yeah, and 2-3 day trips. So I mean, of course, what you want to eat back there is gummy bear. What did he tell you to get? Gummy bears.
Gummy bears.
Lollies.
He called them
lollies.
lollies. Yeah.
Call them lollies. New Zealander.
Like what is that?
These Kiwi guys and a bunch of shit food.
yeah,
And me and Omar were talking. It's like, dude, this is upwards of 12 days potentially with some crazy country.
Yeah.
I've had the benefit of being in there 6 years prior, or 4 years, whatever it was. And I'm like, dude, you got to pack him your style food as well. You can give him that if that's what he's asking for, but don't just do that. This is a long hunt. So anyways, that's what he ended up doing. And by day 2 or 3, he didn't even eat the gummy bears or any of that shit because he was feeling so good on the other stuff.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So he even had his, and he's a young guy, studly, like I said, in crazy good shape. And even he noticed immediately, like, okay, I need to cut this bullshit out.
Yeah. The sugar just gives you like the high, the crash, the high.
I get muscle cramps on it too. Bad. That was, I always used to use, like I said in that article, I always used to use hunting season as kind of my bucket time, like I was so good.
Snack.
Yeah. I was so good through the year. I've worked so hard. I'm in great shape. Hunting is my time to whatever. Well, actually what I really did is I did all that work and all that sacrifice for this. And now is the time I'm saying, fuck it. Like, how does that make sense? Right. And I was eating a bunch of sugar, eating Snickers, and I love Snickers ice cream bars. Like every gas station we'd stop at to get a Snickers ice cream bar, eating like that, I was in good shape.
good,
like you're hunting so much, you're not gaining weight. I was still losing weight. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting fat, whatever. But I'd get crazy muscle cramps. I'd have zero recovery. I'd feel like shit, like always need to take an afternoon nap,
Yeah.
And you get older.
crash.
Yeah, you get older. 4 years ago now for me, and start changing. Like, okay, this isn't a fucking time. Actually, this is why I've done all this work.
Yeah.
Kind of why I passed all those breakfasts I wanted to go to with pancakes and cupcakes and right. I passed all that for this. So let's transition that discipline into it.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal.
Are you big on supplements in the backcountry on a hunt?
Not really. In the backcountry, mostly just electrolytes. That's about all that I've really seen make drastic improvements in the backcountry. I'm trying to think if anything else. Nothing else really comes to mind. How about you?
Yeah, electrolytes, salt pills, just things to keep going. That's pretty much all I do.
Sodium electrolytes for me. Then I do a recovery. It's just I do a Vita Cherry recovery just to help pass some of that lactic acid if it was a pretty rough day. I'll bring that. I'll bring 4 sticks of it depending on how active the day was. I'll either drink 1 or 4, and then sometimes depending on where I'm at, I'll bring like a sleep aid as a supplement just to
Get some
sleep and recovery.
Yeah.
That's really all I rely on is salt. Salt obviously is the main one. 1,200 milligrams per hour of sweat. That's what you're supposed to get in. And I'm a sweater already.
Salt makes a big difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Massive difference.
That's why I love those little salt pills.
Salt pills are
Like,
great.
like it's 3 of them, pop them, put them in my pocket when I need them, and like just
Yeah. Why I
turn
like
down.
electrolytes though, like water based, it's because it's forcing you to drink the water too.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
Staying hydrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those salt pills are big in like the ultra marathon community.
Yeah, because you can't have water sloshing around in your stomach probably either, right?
Yeah.
So
Those
best
are
way to
handy.
get salt with no fluid. Makes sense.
Those are handy.
Yeah, makes sense. It's a big deal though. Like Porter this year never heard of supplementing before in the back. Somehow we all talk about it. We actually sell quite a
So
bit.
a lot of it, yes.
But somehow this is the first year, and he's like, okay, I see what
felt
this
it.
is about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not that hard to understand,
Little porter.
But yeah. Anyways, so MtnTough, you guys have the app now.
Yep.
You guys don't sell like a one-off program, right?
No, it's all subscription now.
That's
So
what I thought.
monthly or annual unlocks all of our content, all of our training programs, all the dailies. We have a bunch of mental, spiritual, nutritional content in there as well. So it's
Cool. I didn't know that. That's new then.
yeah, the mindset stuff is big. So we've always kind of known that like really what's separating the consistent backcountry hunters from the inconsistent guys, it's the mind. I mean, it's mental toughness. It's staying out there longer,
Enjoy the suck.
overcoming adversity. Yeah, they're comfortable being uncomfortable. They're not coming home early. And so we have straight up mindset curriculum in the app now that has no workouts involved. A lot of MtnTough programming is programmed around mental toughness, but now in the app, we have mindset 1.0, mindset 2.0. So think of it kind of like a master class, but on mental toughness.
That's cool. I didn't know you guys had that now.
They're awesome. Yeah.
That is a big deal too. I mean, we talk about it all the time.
All the time.
Why are you leaving the mountain
Big deal.
30 minutes early?
Yeah.
That is prime time.
Yeah.
Like you have to, you're hiking out in the dark. It's going to suck. It's really going to suck, but you're giving up some of the best time right there.
Yeah.
Why did you do all the work? And then we talk about, why are you leaving 2 days early? Like get all your shit in a row, all your ducks in a row before you leave. So you can be sound mentally out there. That's one of our biggest pieces of advice. We did a Q&A about like, how do you get prepared to go into the backcountry for 12 days? Do as much as you absolutely possibly can. So when you're out there, you're not thinking about the things you didn't do, right?
Work,
I didn't do this for my wife before I left. She asked me to do that and I didn't do it. They asked me to get this, this pro forma over, if you're a financial guy or whatever. They asked me to get this pro forma over and now I'm gone for 12 days and I didn't get it over. And now that's on your mind. All that stuff just builds and builds and builds. And then day 7, you got 2 days left. You're like, I'm out.
I got to get that email out.
I'm out.
Yeah.
This isn't worth it.
Yeah. It's a huge deal.
And takes 1 minute, it could be the 1 minute on the 8th day. You could have missed it by one sleep and 1 minute into the sunrise, and there you go.
Yeah, mental toughness, mindset really is kind of what separates everyone out. And I mean, it's ironic because it applies to every other area of life too.
Right.
I mean, the backcountry just kind of highlights these principles, but it's the same principles that are impacting every other area of our lives.
And what's interesting on that too, again, talking about Peter Attia and Huberman and those kind of guys, all the study they've done on like mental toughness, you can grow that.
Yeah.
Like it literally grows like a muscle. They studied the brain of, doing ice baths and doing workouts, waking up early, all the things you don't want to do. And the more you do it, it becomes, you get stronger about it. It literally does become mental toughness. Like you're getting tougher.
Yeah,
It's wild to think that it's in your mind, but it's growing like a muscle.
It's awesome.
Wild.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, he had that latest or recent episode where he went into that, which was so fascinating.
Yeah.
But doing hard things, as long as they're hard things you don't want to do, will grow that area of your brain. So he talks about how like obese people, when he studied their brains, that area was really small. But people that were like forcing themselves to cold plunge every morning, he could see that area get big and get larger.
Wild.
And then harder things later in your day aren't that hard because you've already done something difficult.
Yeah.
That stuff is awesome.
I agree. I think that shit is so fascinating. It's awesome.
That's why I love the ultras, or even like waking up early, right? It's like, we have to be at the office at 9. I technically could sleep until like 8:40
to 9. Brady and I are in here about 8:05 every day. But you're good at 9. You're good at 9.
Cody's saying I'm here.
I don't know.
No, but yeah, just like that, because I wasn't always like that. Like I remember when I was a kid and I would go to football practice, when you're like a little kid and you could skip out, and I remember like always skipping out, like, no, I don't feel good, always come up with excuses. Like as I got older, I was like, well, shit, I got to change something here on the mental toughness side, or else it's just going to put me down the wrong path. So that's why I kind of like started.
Is that when you were 200 pounds?
That was in college, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
at one point when I was like 200. I mean, that was just, college. You're doing stupid stuff with the boys.
Did you get up to 200?
I was like I remember 2019, I went to the doctors, and I had just graduated college, and I was like getting ready to come on a trip to Vegas, and I was like, all right, after this Vegas trip, I'm going to change something. But I was like,
It's always after. I started after.
I was 209, and then COVID happened and everything, so I just started running, and I did the same thing that anyone else that's kind of my age and picks up running is I picked up a David Goggins ebook, just started sending it just 8-mile runs, and then eventually, got into all the running space. But I mean, I loved it. It's completely changed my life, and now trying to start lifting more and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
You believe he was 209? It's
What
pretty
are
wild.
you now?
Probably like 176 right now.
Man, that is wild.
Yeah. I think the smallest I got was 164. But that was just like kind of what you're saying, just running, no lifting at all.
Yeah.
And then I realized, this probably isn't the best for what I want to do and like the lifestyle I want, the backcountry stuff. So I got to pick up the weights a little bit and listen to my mentor, Lorenzo.
Single, looking good on the beach,
Yeah.
I can't imagine you at 209.
You don't want to see that. It's not a good look.
You got any photos?
No, I got photos.
I want to see him.
No.
On the podcast?
He's gone. We got rid of that guy.
Yeah,
Guy's gone.
Yeah.
He's in the past. He's dead.
Yeah, no, there's a picture where we had a pool in our college house, and I'm just sitting there like 210, like not looking like not a healthy 210, obviously, and I'm just eating like shrimp. And that's a picture I think about all the time. I was like, what a bum, dude. I'm glad he's gone. So, yeah.
Dude, that is cool. That's a cool transformation.
Yeah, it's been awesome. And I mean, like the reason I love hunting is for that. Like it feels like you're training. Like one of my biggest regrets in life is that I never did a sport in high school. And now hunting feels like I'm doing like a sport year round. You're training for something like as you would like a sport. So
Yeah.
I think that's why I really gravitate towards it.
That is the great part about it. Is like hunting gives you this urgency to train for. Like we know September's coming.
Yep.
And that is a huge, huge blessing to have that deadline every year.
Yeah.
And September 1st, in your head if you're real with yourself, in your head of like, okay, I'm fucked this year, or that let's go. You know what I mean? Like I'm ready. Let's do this.
For
know
sure.
if you're real with yourself. Yeah. It is just like that sport. Like when you show up into the locker room and everyone's looking at you, like, yeah, I did no summer workout. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It'll take me a while. Yeah, the accountability part of it. That's why I love it. My wife too. My wife was a very high-end collegiate softball player, and then that's when the U.S. did away with when the Olympics did away with softball in the Olympic sports, and she was going to go try out for the USA team. Everything all went by the wayside, and there's obviously no professional. So she, her whole life was dedicated to softball, high-level athlete. This whole thing. Well, she hasn't had that in her life for 6-7 years by the time I met her.
Yeah.
And I got her into hunting. She immediately took to it because it was that softball mentality. Like, okay, I'm doing this because I know it's going to make me better for that,
Yeah.
So now she shoots her bow all the time with me. She gets ready. It's that sports mentality of
It's awesome.
it's coming, whether I'm ready or not, it's going to be here.
That's a big deal too. Because I mean, as people get older and they don't have that thing in their life anymore, I mean, that makes it hard for people to train and stay disciplined every day.
Oh, yeah.
But hunting, filling that gap, and then everything that happens in hunting season is so magical too.
Yeah.
Like it's really cool seeing it become more popular.
I agree.
Because if someone really is struggling and like needs to change their life or is going through a hard time, if you just put them in the backcountry for 4 days with no cell phone service,
Yep.
things are going to go a lot better. And if they train for that all year, it's even better.
Yeah, and with that team spirit of like, okay, I'm going with my buddies, and it's one goal, like one goal in mind, and we're all working towards it. I mean, it brings in so much camaraderie, the teamwork aspect of it, being happy for other success, others being happy for your success. It brings in that full, well-rounded, like legitimate sports lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's why I've talked to quite a few ex-athletes, right? The ex-athlete syndrome. Like, they're at the highest of highs their whole life, working towards something, always wanting to get better. And then they're done. And now what? Get into hunting. Like it's the best thing you could do as an ex-athlete. Get into hunting.
Yeah.
It is the closest thing you'll ever do to that. And even according, like Derek Wolf said, killing a bull with his bow was cooler than actually sacking Tom Brady in a semifinals game. You know what I mean? Which is wild for him to say.
Yeah.
And none of us, for me, tackling Tom Brady would be cooler because that's not what I did, but that's what he did every day. So it's not as cool to him. Or what I did every day was hunt bull elk when I could in September. You know what I mean? So it's just that shift in mentality, but it's awesome. And they talk about it all the time too with military guys, that are struggling and sadly struggling, not getting the support they need, which they absolutely should be getting everything. But they don't. And when they do turn to hunting, it's like a total mind shift immediately.
Yeah. Purpose, passion, direction, stuff to train.
That's how powerful it is. That's why it's hard to talk about. Like we've talked about on the podcast too. It's so hard to put into words what hunting means to you, because it literally is that impactful.
Yeah.
It's totally life-changing.
Yeah.
Hunting is.
Then being ready for it too.
Yeah.
Just makes you feel so good.
Also too, when you're both ready, if you're going with people, you're both hunting with both of you guys, dude, we could go wherever we want.
Yeah.
Just
or like you and I, when we're like, okay, we're going into the shittiest place ever. And both of us are like, hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Can't
That's
wait.
the best.
it's so fun.
Yeah. It's awesome.
What's I was gonna ask Dustin, what does your daily training look like right now?
Yeah, so my training right now is we're definitely starting kind of that preseason prep transition for MtnTough. I train in the mornings, so I wake up early and I train kind of from 6 to 8 a.m. and then go into the office at 8. And I start my preseason prep kind of transition every year right around May 1st. And so training all of May, June, July, and August gives me 16 weeks of preseason prep specific training. And just scientifically, we know that cardiovascular and muscular adaptations are going to take at least 12 weeks. So if you want to see improvement in muscular endurance and cardio endurance, then you got to get those sessions in at least 12 weeks before a season. And so that I'm right on the kind of the tipping point of that happening right now, coming off more of a strength training focus, going into a preseason prep, starting right about when I get home.
So that steps up the cardio basically?
Yeah, it steps up the cardio and the volume goes up and the weight comes down a little bit on the strength work.
Yeah.
So lots of volume, but not as heavy as our strength building phases.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of mobility now too. I never did mobility historically, but just as I've gotten older, I've seen the huge benefits of it. I've had some herniated discs in my back and stuff that if I'm not focused on my mobility all the time, I see that stuff kind of sneak up on me. And so I'm usually doing, for most of the year now, I'm doing 2-a-days. And one session might be focused on the strength work for the day, and then the other session's going to be focused on my cardio, or one session might be focused on kind of that longer zone 2 run or endurance work. So it's kind of broken out across that hybrid mentality of a speed day, an endurance day, a strength day, and then the other strength day to get posterior and anterior chain. And for me, once you add mobility to that too, the 2-a-day model has been super helpful. I think 2-a-days of 2 shorter workouts in conjunction with work and everything has been really slick.
Yeah, I like the 2-a-days.
2-a-days are nice.
2 days would be awesome. We need to build a gym like you guys have so we can actually do that.
Yeah,
You do.
Right now, I don't have the time, just efficiency wise, to be able to drive to the gym.
You need a gym in here.
I know. That's we've talked about it quite a bit.
For sure. Yeah.
We've talked about it. We'll see if we can pull it off.
I think we can. You got to be able to.
Everyone's been asking for it.
Yeah.
The people want it. Yeah.
Gym and a shower. We need a shower then too.
I do need a shower.
Yeah.
Throw in a sauna and a cold plunge in there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could do shower, sauna, cold plunge. Okay. Yeah. This is going to be expensive at all.
Sponsored by Val.
Yeah, sponsored by MtnTough. There we go.
We'll sponsor the gym.
Perfect.
go.
So you're paying for everything, man.
Here we go. Now we're cooking.
So you're telling me people who are listening to the podcast now, and this goes out, it's not too late to start training and feel good by that September timeframe?
It's not too late. Yeah, something is always going to be better than nothing.
Exactly.
And so anyone listening to this now if they're not training, they should be starting for sure. Something's always going to be better than nothing. And I think the cardio adaptations, if you don't have those long time frames, might not be as good, but it's still going to be better than nothing at all. And even training like 60, 30 days, 45 days out, you are kind of knocking some rust off the system that makes a big difference. The best answer for sure is for people to start making that lifestyle change where they're training all year.
Yeah.
Where you're kind of at that 80% level all year, and then you're tweaking that last 20% for your specific goals and trips.
Yeah. Are you doing any of the ultras right now? Or are you kind of off with the ultras, or?
I'm kind of off of them right now.
Yeah.
My wife and I have gotten kind of into the High Rocks events, which have
I've seen a lot of those.
super cool. And
I've seen a little bit of those, I feel like. What are those?
I don't know exactly what it is, but
the
I've seen
Tough
on
Mudder
Instagram,
kind of thing?
the people I follow.
they're calling it the World Series of Fitness Racing. It came out of Europe, but it is essentially a hybrid athlete test. And so you have a really, really heavy sled push for like men's pro. I think it's 425. And then you have that same for a sled pull, but you'll have a lot of cardio and endurance stuff too. So you can't be really good at running and do well, and you can't be really good at strength and do well. You kind of have to be good at both to do well. So that's why it's become kind of addicting for us, is it's kind of like a hybrid athlete check, like a gut check. So we did one a couple months ago in Houston, and then we're going here in a month to Anaheim. But the virality of High Rocks has taken off because no matter where you go in the world, it's the same exact course and event, which is different. Where like if you run a Spartan in Bozeman and a Spartan in Vermont, the course and the terrain and everything's different.
Yeah.
High Rocks, their idea is like, no matter whether it's in Houston or Chicago, the course is laid out as identical as they can get it. So like if you run a 108 in Houston and then run a 104 in Chicago, you know that you truly have improved by 4 minutes, which is really addicting. Because like once you do one, you're like, I wonder if I can knock off 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
how long is the running? Like what?
You end up with 5 miles splitting. I'll tell you how it goes. It's a 1K run, and then it's 1,000 meter ski on a ski erg. And then it's a 1K run, and it's your sled push. I think it's 80 meters. And then it's a 1K run, your sled pull, and you pull it on a battle rope, a long, like firefighter rope. And then a 1K run, you have 80 meters of broad jump burpees, which just suck.
That sounds like it sucks.
That one sucks. Then then your 1K run, you have a farmer carry, and then 1K run, sandbag lunges, 1K run, and then 1,000 meter row. And then you run one more time, and then you finish with 100 wall balls. So it kind of tests a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And
how heavy is the farmer carry?
The farmer carry is not bad. I think it's those like 63-pound kettlebells. It's in kilos too, so I always get.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna just pick one.
How many kilos is it for the farmer
kilos?
carry? Yeah.
I always mix up kilos and pounds, but I think it's like around 60 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Total.
In each hand.
In each hand, so
Yeah.
120.
Yeah, 60 and 60.
Yeah, so 120 of a farmer's carry.
That one's not bad. The real separation in that event is the sled.
Yeah, especially if it's that heavy.
Yeah, and kind of long, like, because you have to cross the turf, cross it back, cross it again, and cross it back, and then take off running. So they call it compromised running because your legs are completely smoked.
Yeah.
And now you have to run another.
You're probably full of so much blood after doing that, especially the pull.
Yeah. the sled, which I kind of like because all these elite runners show up and they can run those 1Ks so fast. Like their splits are insane, but then the sled just smokes
Bogs
them
them,
out.
yeah.
So it's this really cool, like balancing act.
What is the time on a full like start to finish?
So like the elites and High Rocks men's pro, the best in the world are going sub-hour. So they're breaking the world record like in this 54-minute range. And then your more middle of the pack, High Rocks men's pro finishing time is kind of 120-ish, 120, 130.
Wow.
They're a cool event.
Yeah.
It's different. I mean, it's
Sounds
all
awesome.
indoors, so it's just got a different component to it.
Might have to check that out.
Yeah. Like I said, I've only seen it on Instagram, follow
be
some people,
smoked on the
but
sled.
looks
I'm
really
gonna go
cool.
cheer you. I'm not just gonna watch.
You guys should check one out. I mean, it's nice to have things on your calendar
Yeah.
to train for. I know, like, over my lifetime, that's been a big game changer because you always go through these peaks and valleys of, like, sometimes you're stoked to train, sometimes you're not. But signing up for crazy events, like whether it's a ultra or a marathon or an Ironman, that definitely helps people like change their lifestyle for sure.
Yeah, that's one unlock I recently found was like, well, my mentality back in the day was like, why do I want to pay $150 to go run a race when I could just like put that to gear or something? But like now I'm like, I like training for something. Like I did a marathon, I think a month ago, and then I'll do the ultra and then hopefully like another ultra before the year ends. But it's fun like training for something. Again, like you're training year round for something and it benefits hunting at the long.
Didn't you win the marathon?
Yes.
Nice.
You did win
I had
the
to brag
marathon.
for him.
You did. You had to brag for him.
That's awesome.
We'll see if he wins an ultra though. Let's not get his head too big on just a marathon.
I don't think I'll win the ultra. One
Hey,
day.
where I'm in on these High Rocks things is 1K is 0.6 miles.
0.6.
There we
Here we
go.
go.
I could do that. I could do 0.6
All right.
at a time.
You heard it here. He's going to run.
I mean, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but
Anaheim in May. We should
0.6.
meet over there.
0.6 isn't bad.
It's just 0.6 at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Then you got to do all his other
do
stuff.
something physical.
So you're cooked.
I'm good with all the other stuff though. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
you
like
probably
all
do
that
really
other
well.
stuff. I really like all that other stuff.
Yeah, that's what
Especially
makes it
farmer's
fun.
carries. I love a good heavy farmer's carry.
Farmer carries are awesome.
I did some this morning.
Suitcase carries and farmer's carries. They're a big part of my training.
Broad jump burpees, not so awesome.
Not so awesome, but at least it's better than running.
Yeah.
Not so awesome, though. You get a nice chest pump, though.
Yeah.
You're looking good, you know? Yeah. Anyways, appreciate you coming down to see us.
Yeah, man, we kept you here a long time. You had a head
Yeah,
your
it's been
UFC
a while.
thing right now.
Appreciate you guys.
You excited?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
It's so fun in person. I'm jealous you're going. Like I was telling you in my office, my life is overrun by youth sports, so I will not be going.
Youth
jealous.
sports get intense.
Little League.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you a big MMA fan?
No, I don't know much about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna really like it.
Yeah.
Such a good card, man.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
And their performance center next door, that is like a training facility.
Yeah, so they have those two buildings. So their main building, the one that's 2-story and got a lot more glass on it, and the one that's more west. So that one is their corporate headquarters. But in there, they have a UFC PI. So they have, gym and all kinds of training and doctors and nutritionists that all the fighters can come take advantage of whenever they want. They can just walk in. But then the Apex is the one that sits more to the east. They're right next door, but that's on the east side.
Yep.
And that's where they have like the octagon for the fight nights and where they do a lot of production stuff in there. They do the Ultimate Fighter in there, all that kind of shit.
Gotcha. That's sweet.
But the PI, like the main headquartered PI is that building right there.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyways, have fun.
Thanks.
Good to see you.
Good to see you
Better hit
guys.
these guys with the promo code first
Oh yeah, go.
at the end. Yes. So as everyone should hopefully know by now, use promo code podcast when you sign up for an insider account. Get $50 back to the GOHUNT gear shop. And there's a lot of hunting opportunities left, a lot of draws still out there. So use the insider to draw a tag and then use some mapping with GOHUNT maps at the same time to find some tags and plan your hunts if you drew some tags already.
And then use MtnTough to get your ass in shape for those tags.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Here we go.
Yep, for sure.
Well, appreciate you again.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Dustin.
Thanks, guys.